Yeah, so I have a degree in broadcast journalism from San Jose State University. And so I did a vignettes, like a little mini profiles and stuff. So where I did interview like refugees coming from Syria and Iraq. They were escaping, from ISIS and all the Taliban. And so we went to Greece and we actually interviewed them on their travels and what they're doing and how they're going to try to survive. And we went to the camps and stuff. So, yeah, I definitely have experience in filming and interviewing and that type of stuff.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was intense. It was really intense.
What part of Greece did you guys go to?
We went to Athens, and then we went to an island called Lesbos, which is where they were. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Lesbos. Don't get too excited, Isaac.
Sorry. Distracted, right? So Athens and Lesbos. Okay.
Yeah, Lesbos. Yeah. So that island is actually, if you go to the beach, like the coast, you can actually see Turkey. And so the refugees were fleeing from Turkey to Greece on like little boats or whatever they could find to get over. And I don't think that was the island where they found that little boy who had drowned. I don't know if you remember that picture of the little Syrian boy.
I don't remember the picture, but I do remember the story.
Yeah. So that was so a lot of people over there were helping the refugees, with like when they got over, they tried to help them, and some people weren't so happy with refugees coming over. So it was a very intense and like eye-opening trip, because when you hear about it here, it's just like, oh yeah, like da-da-da. But then you go and you see the faces of these 13-year-old kids who are, just trying to survive. Like their parents are just like trying to get them somewhere where they can survive and have kind of a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many like intense stories about people witnessing their family members getting beheaded, or things like that. Little girls like were so affected that they were trying to commit suicide, and so it's just like super, super intense. But yet they're so kind. I went to one of the little encampment, the little camps, and one of the little girls, we went to her little camp, and she was showing us around her room. It was her twin sister, her little brother, and her parents. And her mom had made their favorite dish for dinner. And they're asking us, like, take some. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not going to take food from a refugee. And then so I felt so bad. I was like, oh, no, it's okay. And they were so hurt because they were like, wow, you turned us down. But it was just like I don't know what to do here. Like, obviously I want to, like, accept that. But I don't feel comfortable taking away food from someone, like, going through their situation.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough scenario, And it's true, like you say, we become kind of desensitized because the media just shows whatever they want to show, their perspective, right? But then when you're actually there, and just to think about what you just said, like imagine watching your family members beheaded and being like a little girl and like experiencing that. But then just the fact that they're such kind, giving people, that they're refugees, they probably have a shortage of food, but whatever they have, they want to share. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Yeah.
And they're so smart. Like the little girl, she spoke, what'd she speak? She spoke Arabic, she spoke English, and she spoke another language. I forget what it was. Greek. I don't know. It was like, she just like spoke like 4 different languages. And I'm like, oh my God, you're 13, like a refugee speaking all these, like, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, friggin' 23, speak English, maybe like a little Spanish, but I'm just like, dang, like, whoo, she was so smart. And they were trying to get to Canada. I remember them saying they wanted to get to Canada and go to school to become doctors.
Okay, so this was this was Syria and Iraq. Was this when was this? What was going on? Why were they fleeing? Was it the Syrian war?
It was ISIS and
okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, okay. So this was when ISIS was at its peak, like really bad.
Yeah, it was. I think it was in 2018 when I went. So I think it was a little bit after, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because we went to this site, and it was like a dumping ground, and it had mountains and mountains of life jackets from all the refugees that had come across. It was insane. I remember we were there, and we were just it was me and all my like colleagues, and we're just all taking it in, and it was just like everyone was just dead quiet, and we're just walking around. You see like little 2-year-old shoes laying around, and you just see all these life jackets. And I remember my professors were like, all right, let's take a picture. And everyone was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, we're all so affected by this. And they're like, all right, let's all stand together. And we're like, I was like, no, I don't want to take a picture. Like, this doesn't feel like a moment where we should all be like, ah, you know. But I mean, I guess you could look at it in a positive, like like the mountains of life jackets were refugees that made it hopefully across. Like that was a sign of everyone who was able to, you know, get across and survive.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, when you said that mountains of, I just had this picture of like basically a mountain of life jackets.
It literally was. There was just heaps and heaps of just life jackets from like little kid size to adult. It's insane. It's insane what they have to go through just to survive, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so our ex-videographer, Hatem, he's actually from Syria.
Oh, nice.
So he left Syria in 2010 thinking he was just going to come here to get his degree and then go back and run a company in his home country.
Oh, no.
And a year after he left, that's when the revolution broke out.
Oh,
and he has not been able to go back since. Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, wow. Yeah, that is insane. See, guys, like, we just don't understand. We don't appreciate things sometimes. So that
100%.
that kind of stuff really makes you especially since you were young, like so young when you experienced that. I'm sure it made a pretty profound impact on you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially coming from my family, like I'm pretty well off, like probably upper middle class. And so like I'm very appreciative of everything that's been pretty much handed to me. Like it's basically like, you know, you don't choose where you're born.
Yeah.
It's like when I've seen people here, like, you know, or heard them say the birth lottery, you won the birth lottery, you know. So it's like I'm really grateful for what I have, and I just wish other people were willing to share. Like I want to like help. Like it's just also when you like I want to help, but it's just like how.
Yeah.
It's like what I feel like the issue is. Like I want to help, but like where do I get started?
Right.
How do I help? Like in what way would actually be helping them?
Well, just by you telling the story right now,
exactly,
you're already somewhat helping them. You know what I mean?
That's what our mission was. So we actually had a website, and we had all the little profiles that we did of all the different families and people while we were traveling. So we went to Greece and Italy, and that's what we were doing over there. So it was very eye-opening, very intense, very awesome trip. Because I have anxiety, so that was my first trip like away from my family.
Okay. Wow.
To like a different country.
What a first trip.
So like I mean I've traveled in the US, but that was my first time out of the country without like my support system.
Yeah.
So it was really, really intense. I was like, oh my God, like
that's the kind of trip that will change you forever.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like you'll never come back the same. You know, what kinds of, so I mean, obviously you guys were there. You were helping by sharing their story, you know, because
I hope so, yeah.
Because if nobody knows the story, you know, then they don't know that they can help. They don't even know what's going on, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But how do you feel that changed you, I guess, from, you know, previously how you were, you know, to after that trip? Do you think anything changed?
I think I kind of, like, I remember our first interview, we were going down to this park. And I remember my stomach was just in knots. And I told my professor, like, I can't do it. I was like, I can't go. Like, I'm getting anxious. Like, I just can't do it. And I was sitting in my room. They had all gone down to the lobby. And I was sitting in the hotel room by myself. And I was like, Jessica, like, you can't fly out this far and give up like this. Like, we have to push through. So I was like, okay. So I went downstairs and I met up with everyone. My stomach was still in knots. I felt like I was going to throw up. But I pushed through it. And I went and I got to, you know, meet all these wonderful people with stories to tell. And I was I think it just taught me, like, don't give up. Like, things are tough, but obviously other people have it tougher. And if you're trying to help, like, help. Don't just call out, like, 'cause you're not feeling great. Like, go out there, tell their story, help them. I know it's, like, scary, it's new, but, like, just try it and, you know, push yourself to new limits.
Yeah, so you kind of made a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, it was really intense.
Yeah, so that kind of gave you like a confidence, or maybe like things are not as bad as you made them before in your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like just try. Like I feel like, you know, I build things up in my head of what can go wrong.
Yeah.
So then it's
We
just
all
like,
do.
yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like just go and experience it, and if it's bad, then you know, and then if it's not, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great trip, and I went with a group of friends, and so it was a really big group of us, and we all, you know, were together and were each other's support systems, because one of the girls, Jana, she spoke Arabic. So she was actually like conversating with them and actually hearing their stories in person, right? Because we can't. A lot of us couldn't understand what they were
Right.
saying.
Right. She was like the translator.
She was, and so I know like it was so intense watching her, like having those conversations.
Yeah.
Because I could see it on her face, like what they were saying was very emotional, like very heart wrenching.
Yeah.
And so she took on a lot, and like I'm like, she's so strong for like, and she's actually I think she is from Syria.
Okay.
So she was like listening to the stories of her people, and it was like, I was like, I don't know how she does it. She's so strong.
Yeah.
I was like, that's intense.
That's crazy. You know, it's kind of like she was watching it live while you guys are like watching the subtitles after.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's cool though. That's a very unique experience.